What's up and welcoming everyone to What's Up TV, where I am back filling in for Ash just as a temporary host. If you don't know me, my name's Levon. I used to be on this channel, but it's
Not
great to
the
be here with the pros, especially with my man Josh. But thank you for having me. Ash is sick, unfortunately, and so he's called me up. He's gone into the depths of the playing roster in the depth chart and pick me up. So hopefully I can fill in where I can. But Josh, bro, how you been? How's things going?
bro, things are good. Things are looking up. I mean, Warriors, 3-0. How good? I just want to actually jump back, comment on you saying you're, from the depths of the depth chart. Mate, you took us to the finals last year. You're the Lukey
Oh, come
Met.
on, man. I'm
You're
the
the
lucky
Lukey Met,
man.
and
Hey,
and you're back.
I've timed my run. I let Tanner Boyd do all the great work, and now I'm going to reap the rewards of Tanner Boyd. You know what I mean? So, nah, man, it's good to be back, and I'm happy to to fill in where I can. Especially, mate, I've been watching you boys killing it, and just enjoying my Tuesday nights. And sitting back with a cuppa and listening to you boys talk Warriors football. But just quickly, just want to acknowledge everyone in the chat that's come through. Man, it's lit up right in there. Everyone's going crazy, but we acknowledge you and see you there. We'll get to some of your comments throughout the night, but welcome in, especially our channel members. Great to see you guys come in, and appreciate all the love. While Ash is just currently sick at the moment, under the weather. Ash, he'll fight through anything to to
Bro, will
to, to
bounce
do a, to
back.
do a show, but he must have been really sick not.
We, I think we might have some issues already, which isn't a good thing. I don't know if it's me or not, but Ash is. I feel sorry for Ash actually. He's
Camera's gone out. Uh,
are we
Sorry,
back?
frozen. So yeah, we are back. Sorry about that. My internet is pretty bad. I'll do what I can there. Okay. But let's start with this one here while the internet's back for a little bit. Return of the Met. Return of the Met. Once again,
Woo!
return of the Met. Yeah. Metcalf is back and in full effect. And we didn't expect this. This is probably you said week 7, round 7. This is good 3 or 4 weeks early birthday present. What do you make of it? Just the reaction of it, Josh, when you heard it, and the impact of it when we looked at that team list and it had the number 6 next to it. What's your thoughts on that?
So it was crazy because like over the weekend at about 7 p.m. on Saturday after we'd just absolutely pumped the Knights, which we'll get to, um, I sat back and I went, maybe Tanner has to stay as the 7. Maybe I'm coming round to the idea of Luke, coming into the 6. But we'll have Chanel back next week and we'll kind of see how they work together. And then shock me. Yeah, it's 6 p.m. I'm checking NRL.com to see the team list, and I see ins Luke Metcalf, and so I immediately scrolled to the bottom. I was like, oh, he must be like 23, something like that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, hang on, he's not down there, and so I scroll back up, and he's in the number 6, and I was I think the most ecstatic I've been about Warriors stuff this year, which is pretty impressive because of what we've been doing. But I mean, it's great to have Lukey Met back. I'm excited to see how him and Tanner work together. Again, literally just last week, I was saying, nah, Weeby wouldn't do that. Weeby wouldn't put them together. Like it doesn't make sense. One
Yes.
of them needs to run the team. The other needs to run the team. But we're seeing it now. So maybe it's blowing the cobwebs out for Lukey Met and getting them alongside Tanner Boyd to hopefully build that combination. Give us a bit of time before the big test in the Melbourne Storm in a couple of weeks as well. So
Mm. Yep.
that was my thought once I saw him there. Maybe we are looking at this combination, and if it doesn't work, then kind of by round 6 when we go over there to the Storm, we can kind of revert or move without just chucking Lukey Met in the deep end there.
Do you think it will work though? Or you
Um,
got concerns about it?
no, I think they're both fantastic players. I think the only thing that I'm worried about is the way that they both want to run the team.
True.
And I don't want it to end up like a not to bring you down on your return, Levon, but New South Wales trying to play two sevens instead of a 7 and a 6.
I was waiting for.
Um,
Where's this guy going? Okay, yeah.
yeah, not to bring you down. This is a
Yeah.
Queensland channel now
Sure.
that
Yeah.
you've stepped
Why have I got
aside
this
and
blue
let me and
background? I
Ash
better
run
go
wild.
change it.
This is the only sky blue I'll ever wear. It's the Warriors there, but
It's
no,
looking good on you,
it's
bro. Yeah.
thank you, bro. Thank you. I think it should work. Luke knows how to play 6. He's done it before, and Tanner also knows that like Luke is coming back into an interesting situation. Like he's not running the team at the moment, and
Yeah.
Tanner has been absolutely on fire. So maybe it's Metcalf can kind of feel his way back in. He can play the short ball out wide. He can get a bit of running game going and just get
Sure.
on the back of our forwards and their momentum, which I mean he did so well last year as well. So I like it. And I think doing it so early in the season as well just again gives us time to see it before we get to like some real tests.
Sure. I actually like the point you made about it starting early, like to test the waters now. There's no point doing it later on, and then it's not going to work. And I think there was a good example. Probably was one where was it Sean and Tomaide, and they tried to do that in 24, and it was
Mm,
clear it just wasn't going to work. It was kind of two guys operating in the same sphere. I think it's good they test it now. I can see it's working because I've seen Metcalf kind of play a 6 role. Well, with Sean directing the team around. I think he's probably more obviously he's more adaptable to being a 6 than
mm.
what Tanner Boyd is. But yeah, I'm interested to see what. Do you think ultimately Metcalf is the future
I
and
do I
Boyd?
do
Yeah, you know what I
see.
mean?
Yeah, I do see Metcalf. I think you said as the future. You kind of cut out a little bit there,
Yeah,
but um, I do see Metcalf still as the future. Like Tanner Boyd again. He's on the last year of his contract with us, and as much as I'd like to see him extended and love to see this partnership work and flourish, um, you know, we've got to make a decision at some point. And if at the moment, like again, we're starting early enough where we can have time for this combination to either work or not work, and then decide what we're going to do from there. But I mean, Luke re-signed was it end of last year for a couple more years, I think till the end of 2028. Tanner, probably has a lot of suitors at the moment, a lot of
yeah,
places, calling his number, seeing if he's keen. But I think one thing that has really benefited Tanner this year and didn't really benefit him at the Titans is the go forward from our middles. I think the way our middles have been playing has opened up the space for Tanner, has allowed him to ball play the way he knows how, the way he did in high school with David Fafita running off him. You know, that shape for Aaron Clark's try, where they'd sucked in so much at the middle, even Jacko Ford taking, more than he usually would have. More attention than he usually would have because of how great he's been this year, allowed Tanner to have so much more space to play that ball to Aaron, which was so good and exactly what we expected Tanner. And if you see it at another club, say he went to like the Manly, let's just say Manly for now, because they were the last forward pack I watched that actually got rolled.
yeah,
I don't know if he would flourish as much, and we're seeing that with Jamal Fogarty not flourishing as much as he did behind the
sure,
Canberra pack. So maybe Tanner's going to look at us and be like, if I can solidify the 7 spot here, this could be me for life.
yeah,
And then for there, we've just got to worry about Luke and keeping Luke happy and saying, look, this is still your team, but it's you and Tanner together, you know?
yeah. So that's my last question: is do you think that if it just clicks, so like a house on fire, perfect match. Do you just ride that out till the end of the year at least? And let's say maybe Tanner Boyd gets a suitor. I was thinking even Perth might knock on his door and say, hey, we need you 27, and he goes, but do you just ride the wave out as Luke with as a 6 if it's absolutely killing it and you're happy with it?
I reckon. Yeah, I reckon. Short answer, yeah. I think because we're kind of in a weird phase at the moment. We've got a premiership window this year, and then I think we've got probably it starting up again in 2028. But we've got kind of like next year will be, because we're losing Mitch Barnett. We're probably going to lose Marata Newcore, possibly Kurt Capewell,
Yeah,
possibly Tanner Boyd, possibly Chanel. Like all of these players, we have so many players off contract, and we're going to have to bring these younger guys in and these guys with less experience to fill those gaps. So I think
yeah,
we're going to find that this year will be like an all-in year, and it already feels that way. Like everyone seems to be on the same page. There doesn't seem to be someone playing for their stats. There doesn't seem to be someone who's trying to play hero ball or anything like that. We're just at the point where these guys are all in for the same thing, and it's exciting to see. But does that change next year when we don't have Mitchy Barnett and there's not as much to play for, because we're playing for Mitch Barnett at the moment, we're playing for Murata, these guys that may be
sure,
leaving.
yeah, it's like the last dance a little bit. If you kind of set it up in terms of like, okay, this was the last time this combination is going to be here. Let's ride that wave, and once guys move on, and we settle into that new era of Metcalf. Just on Metcalf, do you think, what are you expecting from him? Obviously, early phases, coming off a major injury. Do you want him to come out all guns blazing, or is it just kind of getting through his paces? What's your thoughts on just his general performance? What are you looking for?
I have a sneaky suspicion that he's going to light it up. I think he's been chomping at the bit. You could hear him, I think it was last week on Sean Johnson's League Lounge, and the way he was talking on there, the way he was being ready, and he was talking about um, readying the boys as much as he could in the opposing shape, and learning the other team's shape so that he can get these boys as ready as possible. And so to see him be, chomping at the bit enough to be on a show talking about having the opportunity to do that, I think he's super ready and he's mentally ready. I don't think there's a lot of mental scarring. He's gone through this kind of thing before as well. And I think was it 2022? I think before he came to us, he had an ACL. Or was it 2021, something like that? And
Yeah,
he
that's
came
right. Yeah,
out, and I think that the year before he came to us in Cup, he was playing great, and then he came to us in that first game he had in preseason against the Tigers. I think it was a members only game down at Mount Smart. He absolutely torched them, and I'm just expecting. I guess I have like a sneaky suspicion he's going to come out and just be that Luke Metcalf that was last year. But I don't want to put that expectation on him, because that is hard, right? That's hard to come out, and you've been out of the game for 9-10 months at this point, and so to come back and be exactly what you were. But I think that the boys will lay the platform enough so that he has the space to do the things he wants to do.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great place to be in. I mean, I was picturing a little bit later, but it's here, everyone. So let's get pumped. Let's get behind Luke, and hope he just gets a great run through. Like he said, he might actually kill it. It might be a perfect game for him. The crowd will be up, man. If he especially
Oh
gets
yeah.
over the line, it's going to be massive. Um, but we'll wait and see. But like us, we've had a good kind of start at 6 and 7 here. And off the bench, he's coming off the bench here. Ash Thomas, he is all late withdrawal, guys. He's in the 24-hour cutoff. He's missed out. But it's good to have him in the chat. So appreciate you, Ash. Thanks for popping in, man. And just wanted to just acknowledge my man Bryce Kiwi. Love the content. Bryce actually did this background for me. I'm actually at Mount Smart right now. If you can't
True.
believe it. Yes, I'm here. I'm in the booth. So, but thank you, my bro. Appreciate you doing a bit of AI. I've been on a bit of the AI buzz. So if you see some AI type thumbnails, it's me, because I'm I'm getting a bit tired of moving out my little logos and stuff here and there. But man, great, yeah, Ash, great to have you in the chat, and there's some real good comments. I can see everyone's really hitting it up. A lot to get excited about. Let's go now to we'll get back to Metcalf anyway on the team list and talk about that. The actual Knights game, man. How did you? What did you think of that one, and how stoked we were with the performance? Again, just consistency. Another 40-point nearly game and all that stuff. What'd you make of it?
I thought we did what we expected to do. I think knowing that we had so many outs with, still Luke out, with Chanel, Chance, Adam Pompey, Kurt Capel, like all of these guys that were out, there probably wasn't actually the expectation on us to score as many points as we did. And I know last week Ash and I both talked about it being a closer game, which we were right. We didn't win by 34 this week. We only won by 26. So need some improvement, obviously, this Friday coming up. But I think the boys, they did their jobs. And I mean, again, it was just through the middle. And that was, again, something Ash and I touched on last week, is the middle for us. Like, our forward pack is so like dominant. I think it is the best in the comp. I don't know, like everyone points to the Raiders, but like the Raiders just don't seem like they have what we have this year.
No.
I think especially with Barney coming back, having Murata coming back and playing his, like, one of the best games I've seen him play for us. That's what it is this season. It's not just one or two players being at their peak. It's everyone getting to the point where they're doing their jobs. They know what they want to do, and they're doing it for each other. And even when we went down 6-0 early, with that Fletcher Hunt try, like that was the first time I can remember that I've been watching a game, at home when we're playing over in Aussie or whatever like that, where I'm looking at it and going, I'm not even worried. And there wasn't a point during the whole game that I wasn't worried, or like that wasn't a point during the game that I was worried, because of the work that we've done to back up. And even with them getting a few more set restarts than I thought they should have got, I thought a couple of those were quite harsh. I mean, you'll always think that with your own team, but I thought that we still fought back really well and played kind of the game that we want to play this year, which is hard and fast through the middle, and then tire the other team out and kind of pile on the points at the end. Did you kind of feel the same?
Yeah, I agree. I like that you kind of trust the performance. I think the only one you worry about at the moment is the refs, and the refs are kind of on our side.
Yeah,
really, like,
they are.
no, so, and I appreciate it. It kind of, like I was talking about in my post-match thoughts, it was like there's a repeated theme in each game, and I think we're probably subconsciously seeing the cues of, okay, they're doing the punishment now, and we're going to see the points pile on in the second half. That's what I'm seeing anyway. I'm seeing that repeated kind of model of, it might be tight in that first half, maybe the first 30 minutes, but then it just kicks on in that second half.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe we feel reliable about that is, as those guys like Laban and Leka, Dimitri, they've stepped up now. They've met the standard that needs to be met, and that maybe is comforting us that there's no real gap. Or that's for me at least. I don't feel afraid watching a Laban or a Dimitri or Leka to have an error. I just remember that time in 23 when Dimitri came and he punched at that Panthers game. But all that stuff's kind of, he's grown up now. Laban's grown up, and Leka's, like they're maturing really well, and they got a good leadership group around them, and Tane's doing his thing, and I just feel that's probably where I feel like safe, is that the depth guys are doing their job as well. And
absolutely.
Is that kind of along the lines of you as well?
Yeah, I think I've been most impressed with, I guess, how like you said, those boys have grown up, but they're just getting more and more professional. Every
Yeah,
movement they have is just professional. And I think we're seeing that with our team this year, is that a lot of what we do is set design, and that's obviously on how Webby is running our sets, which is absolutely awesome.
yeah,
But he's putting faith in whoever is stepping in there, and even like Morgan Gannon, I know there was so much faith in him there as well to start that game. Um, there's faith in him or the faith in the boys to be able to execute the game plan, and I think that's finally now from the boys. There's faith in the coach, and it's kind of like both ways. Like,
yeah,
I know there was that faith beforehand, but now it's like a definite two-way street that's just going back and forth. And even so, like, we were looking at the trials earlier this year and going, why the heck is Lecker out at center? Like, what is the reason for that?
mm,
Well, the reason is that you know Rocco goes down, you know, Ali's on one side, Adam's getting out with like having a baby, and we need someone there.
yeah.
Kurt's out as well, like
Kurtz
all
out.
of
Yep.
these factors that lead to us having no center. And it's just like, oh, well, we can put Liquor there instead of moving Roger away from what he's meant to be doing into the centers, and then putting,
Absolutely. Yeah,
someone else out there. Because Roger is not a centre. We found that out in 2024. I think he is a fantastic
yeah,
winger, and he's not so much a centre at all. And so, like, seeing calls for him to move to the centre instead of Liquor, were like, obviously that's valid. He has played centre before, probably could do a job, but he's been put on the left wing to shore up that edge and do what he does best, which is yardage carries, which is getting us on the front foot out of our own half. And so being able to slot Lecker in there, and Lecker just being so professional about it, just doing exactly what he needed to do, was like exactly what we needed. And so I
yeah,
think, like you said as well, when we're getting to that 30-minute mark, it's almost like the professionalism takes a step up again, and we're seeing more and more
yeah.
from the boys, and then being able to dig in. And we saw it in the Canberra game with that 3 minutes to go, and they were just attacking our line, and we managed to hold them out. And then this week as well, a couple minutes before halftime, and Luke Hansen plays a nice short ball to or nice, sorry, cutout ball to Lecker, and he strolls over to make it 18-6 just before halftime. And I think that
I
there
want
was kind of what killed them.
I want to ask you about kind of this thing I've seen, especially like kind of comparing us to the Panthers. But it seems as though when the Panthers kind of break a team down, they actually start to get a lot of open play tries, not so much structured play, but long range tries or tries off of opportunities where they half see opportunities where there's that chink in the armor. And I saw that when they played the Roosters, and you got Brian Tortle with his double grubber kick try, and then you got a long range break from Alamonte. But I thought maybe the Tanner Boyd line break where he clearly saw that that line was scattered. Phoenix crossed them, and then Fish goes and scores. Do you kind of see that also as part of like maybe it's a benefit of Tanner Boyd, but also that the halves, if they're aware of it, maybe the eyes at footy will come
Yeah, I do think so. I think
when it presents itself. And yeah, just wondering your thoughts on that as well. The open play tries will start to come more often as we break teams down.
Yeah, I think and I think we're going to see it even more with Luke back in the halves, as well as two playmakers who can look forward and see what's in front of them. Um and I think we have been doing really well with what we've had so far, with just battering the door down in the middle and saying, until you can stop us in the middle, we're just going to keep coming through, and making it hard for you to even stop us. And we're seeing that with how Aaron scored his try, and how I think it was Jacko scored his try, straight just down the middle, or especially with Jacko Ford just down the middle, creating so much space because we're tiring them out. And so I think when we get to the point where they are tired, which was relatively early in the second half, with Tanner, spotting that, and he did get a bit of a rough pass out of dummy half, which probably made him look up a bit more as well. But he
Yep.
just managed to, get around the person coming for the charge down. I don't know if it was Crossland or not.
Yeah,
And then, again, do what he isn't really expected to do, but we've been seeing a lot this year, which is running the ball. I think his running game is really underrated. He's not obviously one of the
absolutely.
fastest players, but we saw it in the first game when he went through for our first try of the season, and then
Yeah,
he's been going so deep into the line, and it's been drawing in the defense so much that we've been able to get on the outside, and we've seen tries for Dallin this year, which have just been almost too easy, or even the Chans one as well, which it was almost too easy. But that's created because of how deep into the line Tanner is going, and so when you see someone able to look up and able to use their running game and be confident enough to go, hey, I can make something happen here. Like you said, that's all off the back of how well our forwards are playing as well, getting the momentum, getting them on the front foot.
and that would actually speak. Just we'll keep talking about Metcalf throughout, but if that's the case with how our four pack's running, imagine the amount of opportunities Metcalf will get because he's much more eyes up. He's much more opportunist than I think even a Tanner Boyd is, who's more of an organized kind of guy. But it's going to be fantastic just to watch this combo and just see moments in the game where we've really the forwards have done an absolutely amazing job, and then just seeing the options that Metcalf takes off of it, and just seeing what comes of it. That's really really exciting, That's just something to add to that. Let's. You got any more thoughts on Tanner Boyd just in general? He's in career best form. He's doing
Oh,
well.
I think we need to lock him up. He's
You got
not
to
allowed
lock
to
him
leave
up.
New Zealand. Yeah,
Put
not
a
allowed
ring
to
on it.
leave
You
New
put a ring on it.
Zealand. Oh, come on, Tanner. I'll take it.
No, man. Oh well, that's. I think we that maybe that's. I saw T Mackie put something in the chat that there's going to be some type of announcement. So yeah, watch out for that. As there's always nice to have midweek while we're waiting for our game. Let's go now just into Jackson Ford, man. For Dally M, he's up there,
Oh,
and potential Origin option too. And I want to talk to you about that because it's kind of like Origin. They have a certain view of certain forward players, but Jackson Ford is in an amazing position. And maybe just even thinking long term, I think Webby said it in his presser at some point that Jackson Ford is part of the long term plan of the Warriors, which is exciting too. So, but just what do you make of Jackson? What his impact on the team this year? Even like, what do you think about his transition from previous years? I remember him as a back row getting a short ball. It was like butter going through a knife, and it just you couldn't keep the ball. But now he's in a role that like suits him. What do you make of him? Yeah,
yeah, I agree. I look back to that 2023 year with he was outside Luke Metcalf running off of Luke Metcalf for most of the year, and any short ball he got, you're right, it would just result in an error, which is what we used to think is typical Jackson Ford. But I think what he's done this year is obviously he's really really fit. And I think that's super
yeah,
important. I think like all the boys are really, really fit. Where like I don't think I've seen us be able to challenge this hard for this long. And I think knowing how Jacko, I think Webby said it in maybe the post game presser or something like that, where um he said, Jacko Ford is finally getting the praise from everybody else, but we've been celebrating him internally for years now. And I think the club do see a really, really big thing with him. And I think what they've got now is they've got a Ford who, when it was looking dire without Mitch Barnett, when Mitch Barnett said, hey, I need to go home, the way Jackson Ford has stepped up and gone, well, I can lead this team, meters wise, I can lead this team effort wise, and being that guy who can just be relied on, and as Webby loves to say, he just gets better the more he plays, and that's what I'm liking as well, the vote of confidence in him for this week to be named in the starting lineup and still have Barney coming off the bench. Obviously, Barney is our captain, and I agree and understand that he should be starting. However, I think Jacko is. It's almost. I don't want to say it's his spot to lose because again we've got Barnett. Like it's not a random guy. It's Mitch Barnett. But the more time we can give Mitch on managed minutes, the more we're going to get out of him towards the end of the year when a couple of other guys go down and we're going to see the need for Mitch Barnett. So if Jacko can keep playing like this and keep being that guy that we can rely on and we can bring him on after 15 minutes and make Fish or make Aaron go as hard as they can for 15 minutes and then come off and come back on just after half time or something like that, but have Jackson Ford play 60 to 65 minutes from when he comes on till the end of the game, that will be fantastic. And I think we even saw it on the weekend as well with Mitch Barnett moving out to the second row to accommodate for Jacko Ford.
Yeah,
So
yeah, great
obviously
point.
the club sees a lot in him, and now everyone else is seeing a lot in him too. And I was even chatting with a couple of Dragons fans, and they were all saying, "Oh, we don't even want him to come back because of how dirty we did him. You know, we
Yeah,
we
yeah,
want
yeah.
we want him to flourish like he's flourishing with you guys." So it's exciting to hear because you know, like obviously the Dragons fans are so stoked for him. Like he is a Gerringong boy, like, that is
Yeah,
Dragons territory. So the fact that they're so excited for him as well and that everyone is now seeing how good he is,
yeah.
I would love to see him kind of take over the mantle of our, main long minutes forward for the next few years.
The Dragons fans are kind of sound like how we used to when you were happy for a guy to go like to the Storm, Ali Katoa, oh, nah, go
Yeah,
bro.
go Ellie. Yeah.
So they're in that phase of where we were, that they're happy for them not to come back. Nah,
Oh
man.
yeah,
But
we'll take someone bad. It's all right. You go. We got you.
oh man. But just okay. I need some help as well around because I said you replacing Barnett because Cam George said Barnett is almost like a champion or Steve Price of the club.
Mm.
And I've been big on like that needs to be replaced to support Fish. But if you're thinking about how Jackson Ford's going now, does he fill that void? Obviously, that of a Barnett potentially. And do we need that leadership, cultural leader to support Fish, or maybe we don't, and maybe we just stick to our development systems to bring someone into the four pack and move that way. How do you see it? Do you still think maybe we just go through development pathways and keep Jackson forward and trust in Fish and everyone else to kind of lead, or do you think you still need to get some more leadership and to come and help out?
I reckon we're seeing it already this year. Is that like Jacko has, I think, taken on the mantle already of being the replacement for Mitch. And I think he is playing like a Steve Price. He's playing hard nosed. He's playing, all the tough. He's doing all the tough stuff. He's making all the tackles. He's topping our tackle count. He's topping our run meters. Like I don't know. I don't think we've had anyone do that for us in either forever or, in the last 10, 15 years that I can remember. Other than, maybe Adam Fanua Blake, but again, that was a bit Denny's a bit different to these guys now, but I think Jacko is just playing like the way he's playing is um, what I want to see for the rest of his time here and the rest of I guess the like for the Warriors to have. And I think we're seeing also like we talked about with the younger guys with Dimitrik and Lecker and Jacob Levon, we're seeing that professionalism. We're also seeing that from Tanner Smith, and he was huge in those first two games.
Yep.
That second game especially, he came on and was just an absolute wrecking ball. And we're now at the point where we've got six people on our bench who I reckon all six of them could come in and play and be incredibly effective. And it makes it hard that we have our cup game beforehand because like
Yep.
these guys deserve the minutes, they're just not able to get them. And so I guess I'm more on excited to see that we won't need to replace Mitch like for like, and I don't think
Yep.
there is a like for like out there with Mitch. The maybe only one I can see is Jackson Ford, and we have him as well. So like I'm not worried about us past this year. It's just how quickly can our younger players get more professional, be more of what we need. I mean, Dimitric's already showing leadership. Tanisdale Smith is already showing just being um, a, a wrecking ball, a cannonball, someone that can play. I guess strongly through the middle for a short burst of time, and he's kind of more elevated to that Bunty or to that Tom Ale. And yeah, so I'm not worried about us
Yep.
replacing like for like. I think we've kind of got that sorted already within what we've got.
Well, it speaks volumes of Mitch Barnett then leaving the club in good hands. There's always that proverb, leave a place better than what you got it in. And if he's left it in such a good space where guys like Dimitri and all those guys are ready to take over, and the club culture is great. Like you feel for captains where the club culture's bad. I feel for look at back at Mannering's time. He had energy drinks and everything happening around it. So you can imagine that's a tough gig being a captain. But if the culture around it, and then everything is on icing on the cake, so to say, with Barnett, and leaving it in good hands, that's acknowledgement to him that we're able to say, no, we don't need to go out and get not even try get a like for like because it's difficult. But there's the leadership now is in there to do that, which is absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? So that's a massive acknowledgement to Barnett, to the club, that now we're ready to set these new guys in. I just want to quickly shout out to Coco Jumbo. Thank you for becoming. I always like to have a little jingle or a song with anything that kind of
Absolutely.
flows off the tongue.
Jumbo number 6886.
Have you? I've been singing this blimmin' song off the. Have you watched The Mask? My daughter
Nah,
loves
what's
The
that?
Mask. Oh, Jim Carrey. Oh, mate, you might be too young.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's an old movie, but yeah. Anyone in the chat that's watched The Mask, but it's got a little catchy songs on there. But yeah. Anyway, random thought. Thank you, Coco Jumbo, for becoming a new member and the super sticker. You didn't have to do that,
Oh
my
yeah.
friend. I was gonna get to you, but maybe you were being a bit impatient and acknowledging. But hey, that's maybe one of my tricks. You never know. But no, we appreciate you, man, and appreciate everyone coming through, mate. It's Jackson Ford has been massive, and we're going to transition now into the depth at the edges. We saw, unfortunately, Morgan Gannon, what happened to him. Massively upset about. You want to see. I hate seeing a guy get an HIA like pretty much within the first 5 minutes. I'm okay with it when you've seen a bit of their work, and I suppose it's something kind of exciting for us. Someone from the UK, probably since Tompkins, that we've had someone come through and get a look in, and it's like
Don't
when you
say
get
that
that
name.
American girl from America come to your school, and you're like, you want to like get to hear her accent, and okay, maybe I'm being a bit too
Oh,
but you
okay.
know what
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean. And then she leaves straight away. But no, just gonna it's interesting. We didn't get to see that, but at the same time, Marata comes in, and I mean, you say what some people I had messaging me saying, oh, Marata's done, or like Laban's the way forward. But Marata comes in and just punches out some massive work, does his job. And then the depth. Laban can move to the left side and still kill it over there. Lecker goes to center. What does it say about depth in general, but maybe edge depth in your opinion? Just how it's how it's going at the moment. It's absolutely great to see.
I think it's beautiful. I think we're at a place where we haven't been for a while, and we obviously talk about you know Lecker and Jacob, and we talk about Dimitrik and Morgan Gannon. We still don't have Kurt Capewell for another few weeks, and he was massive in that first game. He was fantastic. I think our our edges now we're getting to the point where we're not makeshift. I know, like back in 2023, we had a couple of makeshift makeshift edges with, we put Jacko Ford out there, and then we had Mitch Barnett out there for a little while, and we had, we were kind of chopping and changing where we needed. And now, we're running out Leka Halasima and Jacob Laban as our edges to start, which is outrageously good. And we've got Marata on the bench. We have, Mitch Barnett, who can play out wide if needed.
Yeah.
We're almost like spoilt for choice in the second row. And I think that's why we're seeing, Marata having to look elsewhere, is because, these boys are ready, and they're ready to take over exactly what we've got. But then Marata comes in on Saturday and shows us exactly what we have been missing. And he was fantastic. He was so damaging. I was probably most impressed with how he played, and I think he was I think out of all the boys, like, you kind of expect the performance, but then Marata, we hadn't really seen him. We saw him play in the Midland Cup the week before, but he stepped up 5 minutes into the game after Morgan Gannon got concussed, which is real sad, because Morgan Gannon is going to be one that we will have for a long time and will be great for a long time. But Marata started to play how he played in 2023, where he was damaging, strong defensively, and the way he was defending with Tanner Boyd was fantastic. I think as well, moving to the left unlocked Jacob Laban as well. Like, we saw him pull the arm out and try and get that offload away.
It was beautiful. I've been dying for back rowers to get post contact and just free that arm up. It's just, I think it's the most sexiest thing in rugby league is a back rower getting through and just
But so even with happy. Those five guys we mentioned, below that we still have Kalis Fatialofa, Edimia Toyava, Bishop Neal played Cup over the weekend, which is crazy because he's still 17, which, that's outrageous to me. Like, we have so much depth coming through. I probably even missed a couple. Like, that's how we are at the moment. We aren't worried about the replacements coming through. We've got guys who are ready, and again, like, more and more we're talking about the professionalism, and these guys are just, because they're so ready, because they've been involved in this environment, which is a great culture, which is really strong, and it's been set by Mitch Barnett, by Fish, by Webby, and all of the players that have gone before. We're now seeing these edges come through and be just immediately ready, and it's to the point where we're not even really worried about them.
Yeah, that's it. And again, he speaks to the development of the club. I just wanted to talk a bit of development, and probably something I didn't quite see, but is a credit to the club, and mainly around. Remember, Dimitri Leka and Laban were coming through, and Zion Mayu was in there. And I was kind of like, oh man, why did you let Mayu go? I thought Mayu was appearing as though, he made that appearance on Anzac Day, and he looked like that raging bull type forward. And now you're looking back on it, and it's like, wow, the club actually chose the right three to build around. And even maybe letting go of a Toby Crosby and a Tom Ireland now, and a few others that, you have to make decisions. But the picking of those three seems like the club has finally turned the corner on development, that they are maybe picking the right players. Do you feel that way, that the club's kind of turned the corner in terms of getting it right? Remember, because the club's missed out so many times in the past. They've screwed up so badly. But yeah, what's your thoughts now with current development?
I definitely think we're making the right choices, and we've got pretty much the whole of New Zealand not to ourselves, because all of the other clubs are coming in and poaching these guys, but our scouts are actually doing a really really good thing of identifying the talent early and just getting them involved in the system. And now that we have the systems up and running, we've got people who are ready to make that step up, like Bishop Neal, who's again last year playing Harold Metz, you know, and then you know, winning that game for us in the final. And now he's, you know, played Jersey Flegg a few weeks and they've gone, actually, he's ready for Cup. So we're identifying the right talent. We're identifying the guys that are ready, but I still think there's a couple more things that we could be better at. I think I don't know if we're getting out regionally enough. You know, like case in point with Antonio Verhoeven over at the Broncos.
Yeah,
Where he was one of the guys that we were, you know, trying to get back. So he was born and raised in Greymouth, down in
sure.
the South Island, and so he, you know, he was one that didn't even move over to the Broncos system until a couple of years ago. So
Hmm.
he was in playing New Zealand. He was playing rugby over here, for his school, and kind of, you know, working his way through. And they ended up finding him at, I think it might have been a sevens tournament or something like that, or like a
Yeah,
schoolboys tournament, something like that. And the Broncos were scouting there, and I'm, you know, I'm just worrisome of is that once we get players into our system, we're only focusing on our system, and we're trying to pick them up and
sure.
identify them earlier. So what I'm hoping that is, if we're not doing our scouting ego based, we're not going, oh, we missed him, but he's not gonna. Don't worry, you know, he won't turn into what we want him to turn into, and then they'll
Sure.
go over to these other clubs, which is what has been happening. You know, we haven't even, you know, we're kind of just on the tail end of it now, where we're seeing these guys that were, you know, born and raised here and grew up here, killing it at other clubs still. But we're
Yeah,
finally starting to see now, that, and I wouldn't be surprised. And you know, I don't want to put this on Antonio, but if in a few years when his contract's up at the Broncos, if he goes, actually, home is looking really appealing right now. You know, we're seeing a lot
sure.
of these boys that have left us or have not come to us instead of, you know, and have chosen other clubs. Um, they're now going, oh, the Warriors is kind of looking quite attractive, and you know, let me get back there and be a part of that, because that's, you know, the culture that I want to be involved in. And so, as much as I think we need to, you know, make the right decisions, and we are making the right decisions, we still need to then, on the flip side of that, about who we're bringing into the club and the Kiwis that we're bringing home, we need to make sure that we're bringing the right ones home, and the ones that will, you know, further our culture as opposed to take from it.
That's a really good point, Josh. And if the club was listening to this, I'd hope they'd hear that, especially from us as fans. No, genuinely, because it's always been a downfall of the club, you know, and not to discredit, you know, in the past they've always had a focus on Auckland, just purely Auckland, didn't even look
Mm,
anywhere else. I think they're building up those satellite systems now. I mean, Bishop Neal was probably an example, you know, where schools are starting to play more rugby league, and then it's feeding into the Warriors from Christchurch. So you know, it's going to get there, and you can continue to refine your system. But I think what you've just highlighted is good. Never get too comfortable, and never get too like, yeah,
mm,
we've made it. We've got 5 grades, and everything's going perfect. Because there's always, like you say, one of those ones that you can bring in, and also there'll be just turnover of opportunities because kids need to go and grow, and
mm.
sometimes someone like a Bishop Neal is going to be blocking that pathway because we want to see that Bishop Neal come in and eventuate because of his talent level. But no, it's great discussion. I just wanted to shout out to my man Hosea. He's unfortunately unable to go to the game, but bro, if you want to go, drop the kids off at mine. I got a little call hung over here. So you just come down to Hamilton and you go to the game with your wife. You know, I'll be here for the next couple of years. I don't think I'll be going to any more games for a while. But I love to my brother Hosea. Look, let's go hit Hanson just quickly and Gannon. I mean, we kind of
Mm.
talked Gannon. Really unfortunate. Hope he comes back in and gets his opportunity. The fact that he was kind of in the frame to be in the depth chart, we kind of knew where he was ranked because of where he got put in. So he's quite highly valued. But a bit unfortunate. I mean, what you said something to me off screen about he got hit from the shoulder of I didn't quite see
Yeah,
it, but
so the tackle that he was going to make, like, he was lined up pretty well, and then I think it was Fish came in, and it was a kickoff tackle. So it's one of those ones that is always, you know, going to go wrong. And I mean, even the NRL
yeah,
talked about wanting to change the way they did kickoffs a couple of years ago and things like that. So, um, I wouldn't. He was in line to make a tackle, and then Fish came in and tried to put a bit of more oomph into it and knocked him into into the guy's shoulder. So again, it wasn't a bad tackle technique or bad placement or anything like that. It was just one of those unfortunate ones that you see from time to time.
Yep.
One real positive about Morgan Gannon is the week before in Cup, he was outstanding. He was
Yep.
fantastic. And I think he's really getting our DNA. He's getting it down pat and he's getting ready. And I think now coming into the rest of this year, he will have a lot more time to shine. It'll start getting colder and he'll start, kind of when everyone else is, getting more and more shriveled, he'll start to come out of his cage because he's from, Leeds in England, which is always cold apparently. So,
Yeah.
this guy he's going to be a great one, and I think unfortunate that his debut was 5 minutes. But
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is on that front.
He'll get his opportunity. Look forward to when it comes and eventuates. And yeah, I hope he recovers well. Just quickly on Hansen as well. I thought he was fantastic.
Mm,
Foot speed, getting involved in the tackle, everything. The promo, they had those interviews with the players, and they talked about how he's being a really solid wrestler. Just didn't skip a beat, man. Again, he goes talk to when the team like the Warriors, they debut a player. Now it's pretty certain or solid that they're going to play well. And I thought he did it pretty good. What did you make of him? And you're someone that's watched him throughout Cup and his progression. Yeah, I was impressed. I actually really enjoyed his game.
yeah, I thought he took the line on well. I don't think he was, like you said, I think he was ready. I think when we look at his cup sample last year, he was definitely more ready than Jet ever was. And like I love Jet. I think I think he's great, but Luke Hanson was always just that step above. He was kind of the first Aussie boy that came over, I think, out of the Aussie halves that we have at the moment with Hanson and Linane and Jet Cleary and things like that, where he was the first one to kind of come over and trust the system, and he's been able to flourish, coming up through the grades with us. So to see him make his debut and see him, he put a lot into there was a lot of years into getting that debut and just playing exactly how he was expected to play. He played, he played the way that they trusted him to play, but also the way he has been playing throughout New South Wales Cup. And last year we went on an epic run with him. Once Tim Mighty was up in the main team, it was him and Tanner Boyd for a while, and then Boyd almost passed when Metcalf went down. Boyd almost passed on the baton to Luke Hanson to say, hey, look, you're running this team now, and having Jet with him was really impressive. The way he built Jet up and let Jet play his game and just said, I'm going to control this left side, I'm going to run the way I did. And he did that exact same thing on the weekend. He played the game he needed to play and laid on a try, scored one of his own, which was quite funny watching him scream for the ball
Yeah.
from Dane.
Just quickly, I just want to acknowledge Jumbo. Thank you for the $5, man. I appreciate. I saw it come through. Very kind, sir. And anyone actually in general doing a super sticker is fantastic. But would love a question. We appreciate your kindness and contribution. Chuck in a question that you may have, and we will focus on that because you've earned the right, literally, to grab our attention. And so, if you do have anything, Coco, chuck a question in. If anyone else has a question, use a super chat. We're more than happy to answer it. And
They're
just,
throwing money at you, Levon.
mate,
They don't throw it at they don't throw it at me and Ash. They
they really think I'm at Mount Smart right now. They really think I'm something big. But
they're trying to get more money in the salary cap.
Yeah. And Casual says, thank you for the lower grade highlights. This channel has been, I think you're mistaking us for Warriors Anonymous, but I want to do a message shout out to the bros, Gerard, the bro who does all the amazing highlights. I always see it pop up, and if I wanted to see someone that I'm interested in. I love always like guys like Bishop Neal, Harry Inch. So I watched a
Mm.
bit of Flag. I watched whatever highlights he offers, and it's the total package, and he's killing it, man. The views and people that he's got on there. I think you've mistaken us for that, unless you're talking about the highlights. Ash and Josh obviously talking about the team, which they are very knowledgeable with. So hang around for that. But I want to acknowledge the bro Gerard as well, and the other Warriors
Yo, I
community.
love watching
Yeah,
the Warrior Anonymous highlights. I think they're so good.
so professional, man. And also
Yeah.
Warriors Fan TV. If you guys even know about my bro Nick, who's in the chat, bro, much aroha to you, Ehua. Hope you're well over there in Europe. But Warriors Fan TV is another show in there, so don't forget about them. And I man, Warriors Fanatics, who's in the Instagram spaces and all the and other spaces. So we got content creators galore in the chat. Just want to acknowledge them as well while we're here. Insane in the Tane. And mate,
I like it. I like it.
he's absolutely killing it.
Mm.
And what have you made of Tane's play the last few weeks? And obviously, we're going to get into the team list, but as Webby has always for the last 3 to 4 years, Chance is that fullback.
Mm.
But did Tane do anything over the last few weeks to kind of leave us more puzzled or more questioning and knocking on the door of Webby saying, Webby, Tane's the man or good enough? Or do you still think it's just his style? Maybe it's a stylistic thing, or CNK is so experienced, etc. What do you make of Tane's performances and then knocking on that door of CNK? What's your answer to that? Because it's quite everyone's always asked nearly go to every comment section.
Every time,
Tane,
yeah.
Tane, Tane. So everyone's asking that question, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, man, what did you think about that?
I think I've been high on Tane for a while. I think he's been someone that again I've been able to watch through Cup and seeing the way that he has been electric throughout Cup. Even watching him play Queensland Cup before he came over here, he has been someone that I've been high on, and I think at the start of last season after Vegas, I kind of thought we were in a rebuilding year, and I even said let's just put him in there now if we're just gonna get him. We just need to get him ready to take over, and I think that sentiment was diminished throughout the year with how Chance was playing, um, and I think we're at the point now where at the start of preseason before Tane got injured, I think he was the number one coming into this year. He was the guy that they wanted to go with, and so I think
Yep.
there's a lot of respect for Tane in the Warriors system, and him and Chance as well have a lot of respect for each other. So I look if I mean again, who am I to doubt Webby? And if Webby sees what CNK brings us as a real positive, then who am I to say that that's not um, what we should be doing. I think Tane has done himself so many favors over the last couple of weeks he's played. He's probably been one of our best on the park 2 weeks
Yeah.
in a row. And I just think this versatility CNK brings is a bit more in terms of being able to play other positions than Tane does.
Mm.
To me, Tane's like an out and out fullback, and maybe on attack you can play him as a half if your half goes down. However, now with the 6-man bench, I think maybe that gives the nod to CNK to get into the game and get his hard running style. And then if someone does go down, for that change to be made and for Tane to come on and kind of pick at the pieces that have been left, I guess, because I mean the way Tane runs off of Wade Egan and Sam Healy is second to none. Like I haven't seen anyone run off of a hooker like that since Billy ran off of Cam Smith, and I know that's a hot take before everyone
Yeah.
starts going a bit crazy. I'm just saying the way he runs off the ball. I'm not saying they are Cam Smith and Billy Slater, but to me, I don't mind either of them. I think that We are at the point now where our fullback isn't an obsolete position, but they can both do the same job.
Yeah,
And our forwards are running, like rolling through the middle to the point where either of these guys get on the back and get an extra 15 meters down the field. And when we're not worried about which one of them it is, it's just a matter of who is better suited to playing 80 minutes week in, week out. And maybe Webby thinks that's Chance at the moment as opposed to Tane.
yeah, man. It's I like that point about the being able to play other positions. It actually kind of speaks volumes a little bit because then you can. Because I've seen we'll get into Teamlist, but I've seen Chanel's on the bench there. But CNK can go into center. He can go into 5/8 and do a seamless job almost. So that is a bit of a credit to that. Again, it might come out into the end of the year and when everything needs to fit in its rightful place. I can't really remember, but I always felt like those 2008 and 2010 and 11 teams, there was always a bit of X factor off the bench. Maybe I'm thinking maybe Lance or higher, but even Kevin Locke, I can't remember if sometimes Kevin Locke used to come off the bench sometimes. I can't remember, but you felt
I
as
think when he
though
was starting out, he did.
yeah, when he's starting out,
Yeah.
and I think that might be useful for Tane too, to be that X factor. You get a HIA within 5 minutes of the game. He comes and plays 70 of the best minutes and teams actually haven't adapted to that game plan because they've prepared for, okay, we're going to kick Chase up and down for CNK because he's more of a straight runner. Oh, crap, we got a guy that's got footwork. We need to tighten up our middles. We weren't expecting that. So it's kind of being that kind of Lance or higher, Kevin Locke kind of interchange guy that just might be kind of just gives you something unexpected, which is always important in the long run. Coming down to the wire, you need everyone hitting on all cylinders. That's kind of maybe how I see it. Yeah. Okay, man. Let's get into this team list. I'll just read it out. But it is CNK at fullback. Dallin is there, and Pompey is back. He's just had his wonderful baby, so he'll be feeling very jubilant. Maybe he crosses the line there. Leatoa, I'll get to Leatoa later, but you're interested to see how you think he's going. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Luke Metcalf, as we mentioned earlier, people, if you are just coming through, it is Luke Metcalf. That what you're seeing there is true. Man, his hair's a bit long in this photo. Maybe, he needs a bit of a haircut. And then you got the military Navy SEAL haircut from Tanner Boyd. Then Fisher Harris, Wade Egan, Jackson Ford. Obviously, that front row trio has been absolutely awesome. Leck is back in the back row with Laban, the two young pups there with Aaron Clark, who's playing fantastic. Then the 6-man bench is made up of Sam Healy, Mitch Barnett, Dimitri Vaimaunga. You remember when he was Sifa Kula? That seems like an age ago now.
Yeah, bro. That's a throwback.
That was a long time. That's a throwback. Tanner Smith, Marata's there, who I thought was fantastic, and then Chanel's there is kind of a utility. Now it's looking more like kind of what I suppose a Tamaida Martin would have kind of that role, a bit more of that where you could play a hooker, a bit of which maybe you're doubling up a bit on that. Be interested to hear what you think about that role. But let's go. Maybe I just wanted to quickly go Leatoa because that first game, everyone was like, "Wow, he's absolutely awful." That was a lot of you. Then he's had some amazing moments. I wish he'd scored that try because I thought that was a great take and showed his great aerial attacking threat. Shame he was just a tad offside. But what have you made of his progression? A lot of people still questioning his work. I like what he did. He kind of went on the outside, let Bradman Best come back inside. So kind of trusting his inside there. I just thought he just played it safe, didn't give him anything on the outside to work with, which I thought was great. But what did you make of his work? And do you still see him tracking well?
I do. I think with Ali, we've got to give him time. He's only played now, I think it's 16 or 17 first grade games. It's not like he is a veteran who, you see him make a mistake and you go, oh, he shouldn't be making that. Like he's not that. Like
Yeah,
he's not a veteran. He's very very new into his career. And I've seen people say that we should be playing Tane at fullback and CNK in the centres. I think that's a bit sad to Ali. Like after the first game, sure you can say that, but the next two games, like he backed up in the Raiders game where they've seen him just get absolutely demolished by Billy Smith, um, from the Roosters. So the Raiders have gone, well, we're going to attack that side because that's obviously the side to go. He made 15 tackles and missed one, and then the Knights doubled down and they said, well, yeah, but so obviously we have Bradman Best, so they sent more attack down there, and Ali made 27 tackles
wow,
for a
yep,
center.
yep, yeah, he did a
27
lot of work.
tackles. Like that is ridiculous. That's not even Rockaberry was doing that. And like I love Rocco, but I think we need to give way more time to Ali. He may be a weak link on defense at the moment, and we may, consider try there once, maybe twice a game. But like again, if we get our systems right and inside and we shuffle out right, that gives him more time to actually apply his technique. And I think in that first game when we were getting skinned on the outside and Billy Smith was getting the ball outside of Ali, he was coming over and he just didn't have the technique to take down Billy Smith, and Billy Smith was patient enough to wait for Ali to try and slap his hand
Yeah,
out of the way.
very patient.
And so I think Ali just got caught out, and I think we've seen a bit of a transformation in him over the last couple of games, especially this one on the weekend. And bro, I was so stoked for him when he leapt up and caught that
Yeah,
ball
look,
to score. I was genuinely like, I just here in my room watching it on my monitor and just almost freaking out because I was like, wow, this is going to be a fantastic thing that everyone can kind of back off Ali. And you're right, unfortunately he was offside, but that's another part of his game which CNK and centre doesn't have. And so I think with Ali, we just need to give him time because we're not in a team that's struggling for ideas on how to score, and we're not struggling with losing games or anything like that. When we're in a position where we're 3-0 on the season, and Ali has been a factor in that. He scored
absolutely.
against the Raiders to almost change the game. He took that
It
intercept
did.
and
Yep.
turned the game around, and that's what we probably wouldn't have gotten with CNK in the centres. And so I think everyone needs to back off Ali. He's doing well. And I hope that when Rocco is back, they push each other even further, because that's I think what we're getting across all the other positions is a lot more fighting and jostling for position and to get into the main team. We have about 23, 24 players who could play first grade every week, which you don't see much at other clubs. Some other clubs you see 13 players that can play first grade every week, you know? Um, so just give it time, let everyone get healthy and let them fight for their positions, and we'll see the best of Ali.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm on the same mindset as you, absolutely for that. I think everything else we've kind of talked about Luke Metcalf and Boyd. I feel we kind of feel as though it's going to go smoothly, and um, I think we're just excited for that. Any more comments on that? Or I think we kind of covered that quite well.
Yeah, no,
Um, I think we're gonna. I just wanted to get back onto Barnett off the bench. Something I didn't mention, but it was kind of like if you remember a Dylan Walker vibe when he came on. When you'd had that Dylan Walker come on after about 25 minutes and he just kind of opened the middle up. I think Barney, it was nice to see him come off the bench, and
mm,
just kind of give that little
yeah,
energy. And he saw him do. I think there's some value in him maybe sitting on the bench. Obviously, they're going to put him there for now. Um, I there may be moments where do you think he's going to ultimately take that spot off of Ford, or does he kind of sit in this kind of spot now where it's like, yeah? What's your thoughts on it?
it's really hard to say because I think using him off the bench was really, really effective. I think he came on just when Fish and Aaron may have gone off at the same time, and we brought on Mitch and Dimitri, or Dimitri came on just before him, something like that. And they like Mitch was, I think, really, really strong. I think even, laying off that ball for Jacko Ford, like that's what we want to see out of him, and it's something we probably haven't seen out of him as well before. And I think Ash has touched on it in the last couple of weeks, but all our middle forwards now seem to be able to ball play. So I don't
Yeah,
know
man.
who taught them how to do that, but but I don't know, like maybe Tohu still having his effects there. Um,
Probably.
but just all of them seem to be able to pass the ball at the right time, make the right decision, make the right move, and we're reaping the benefits of that. And now teams are going to have to hold in more as well on these guys. And so I think Mitch coming on when he does his first run, he ran probably harder than I've seen him ever run.
Yeah.
But it's like he was so chomping at the bit to get back and be ready. That coming on after 25 minutes or whenever he did was the best time for him to come on, because the Knights weren't obviously quite ready for it. Um, I am, I guess, excited in a sense to see how Webby handles this, because when
Mm.
you have Ford, Fish, Mitch, Dimitrik, even Tanisdale Smith as well, Aaron Clark, like all of these guys in the middle, we have a middle depth like out the wazoo. We have so many middles who can play effective minutes in NRL, that is going to get to the point where some of them are going to take that extra step up and be better than the rest. And if Mitch is really, really serious about this year, we'll see him step up and be that leader, be what we need. And I think we'll see him get back into the starting side. I don't know how long. It'll be 1 or 2 weeks, I'd say, but
Mm.
he will be back in the starting side. It won't, I don't think we'll keep him out of it. I think he'll be again pushing to the point where you almost can't say no. And
Yeah.
that will suck for probably Jackson Ford, or Aaron Clark, or whoever does go to the bench. But Mitch Barnett will force his way back into the starting side, and I think that's again a credit to just how great our middles are at the moment.
I think it will be it will take its time. Like I mean, what I mean is that where we're sitting now with our depth, and I actually think maybe the 6-man bench has benefited us because we were probably one of the most deep teams. Well, if you consider our boys in Cup last year, and they absolutely dominated, it showed that we could hold maybe 2 more players on the bench, which has
Mm,
benefited us, I reckon. And if you can do that and you can balance it and you manage the minutes of everyone, I think if this team stays fit and you can have Barney on a bench for 25 minutes against the Tigers because you're not stressed about intimidation factor. Or you're not you're just comfortable with what he can do off the bench. Then you start to rotate that team, get more minutes through the likes of it. Tanisdale Smith, who missed out last week, and now he looks like he might play some minutes this week. You know that team should be fresh and rotating throughout the year. Um, that because we've built up these stocks, so to say, in terms of depth, we now can kind of roll through people at different times of the year, which is
mm,
I think is going to help that because we've had that jet lag kind of towards the end of seasons, and
yeah,
pretty much all 3 of those years under Webby. I'm looking at round 18 to around 24 now is like a sweet spot. It might be even
mm,
more. We might pick up even more. That's how I see it because I think it's definitely going to open up more opportunities to rotate. Um, and just managing, it's just up to Webby just to manage that because he kind of, to be honest, he didn't trust those guys and he would push guys. Maybe he'd push Adams almost 80 minutes a week, or he'd
yeah,
he'd he'd rotate. Kate Well would go to every other position because he didn't quite have those guys ready. But now
yeah,
it's like, no, we're gonna rotate where we need to. And I think if he manages it, and we know it gets grueling round 16 on. It's it's a grind. So, but I
Mhm.
think this might be a perfect time to just like get the best balance. It really might be.
Yeah. And I think again, when we talk about rounds 18 through to 24, we can also look at like using some of the cup guys more and giving them some
Yep.
more experience. Again, if this is only if we're going well, which I don't foresee us not going well based on how we've been playing this season. Um, but I think we will see, yeah, us use more of our of our cup guys, like our Eddie Edemia Toyava. Even saying Tennessee Smith here feels a bit wrong, but using Morgan Gannon more. Um, these guys who were part of our cup side last year, using them more so that we can rest you know, our more senior guys and our guys that are playing bigger minutes, like a Jacko Ford, like a Mitch Barnett, James Fisher Harris. Not saying rest them as in not play them, but just taper off their minutes so that we can then
Yeah,
build them back up for the finals.
absolutely. And that's when you start to do. I mean, and you can do that because look what look what Cleary did. He pretty much sabotaged his season to get the best run he could.
Mm,
Like he said, look, I'm going to just play the whole cup team one round. I got to rest these guys. So if we're in a good position and you can, because you can see the bigger picture and what they want to do, which I'm excited about that. Then do the cup guys because you think sometimes I've been separating cup into this place of like it's just too easy, but then
mm,
again when they come up they're ready for first grade and you deal
yeah,
to cup players are or our cup players specifically are dealing to the lower end teams like the Knights and
yeah,
like quite well. So it's like, wow, I can't be disrespecting cup like that when they actually be really prepared. And shout out to David Tunga Tator, who I think behind the scenes has been a
yeah.
massive influence. Um, and I think he's come within the coaching staff now, which I'm sure has helped immensely as well in terms
Mm.
of the prep. But yeah, just want to get on to um, your boy CHT. He's copped some flack, and it's unwarranted. And I mean, I was listening to Sean, and in his little show that he does with those boys, and they ask him, "Hey, what do you do with Metcalf and Tanner Boyd?" And he was in the pickle, like he's good mates with those guys, and he's like, you got to have CHT in there. Well, he's there in the 6 man spot for now. Um, are we being too loose to just say he's done at 6? I mean, I know I don't think that way. I still think I actually I could see a world where there is Metcalf and CHT, or even Tanner Boyd and CHT, depending on injuries. But where do you sit with this whole where he's at right now? With
My boy, my boy. Nah, I feel for Chanel because I think he had again a really good first game. And I don't think he had anything where he deserved to drop off or deserved to be in like on the 6 man bench. Like he played fantastic against the Roosters, and he's always one that'll put his body on the line. I think what we may see now is we'll see him kind of, I guess, be on that extended bench. And I think this is again where we could even maybe look at starting Tane because of how versatile Chanel is, where maybe uh, he comes on if there's an injury in the halves, or is activated if there's a couple of head knocks or something, just to come on and stabilize, and also create that little bit of havoc that he somehow creates every game. I think
Yep,
like I think what's really underrated about Chanel is his support play. Everyone talks about his defense,
yes,
but I think his and Ash talked about this over the last couple of weeks as well. The fact that he is so ready to be that second playmaker, like he doesn't want to be the first playmaker, or not doesn't want to be. Obviously, everyone wants to be, but he's happy taking that second playmaker role. But I think at the moment we are just probably looking at a bit of a Tamati situation from last year.
Yep.
And I don't mind him taking Tamati's spot. I think Chanel
Sure.
can. I think he's a better defender, and I think also when we know that we have, say Tanner and Luke Metcalf are our 6 and 7 for the rest of the year. I think you'll find that putting Tamati on if there was to be an injury with one of those two, and I mean, you talked about it with how Timati and Sean work together. There is a bit of that, I'm leading the team. No, I'm leading the team. And I think if we have
Hmm.
Chanel in that spot, it can be more of a, yep, you're still leading the team. You're the guy, and I'll just come on and do my job and do my role. So again, I don't like it because I like Chanel, but
Okay.
I don't mind it. What I actually did want to say though is like I think the with Chanel moving to the bench, it sparks more interest on Sam Healy. Because
Mm.
we kind of talked about what happens to Sam Healy when Tamati gets back, but we're also kind of seeing that now with Chanel being there. So
Yep.
if you're the Warriors and you have, you know, like to me, it feels more of an easy decision than not. Um, if a number like one of the halves or one of the backs goes down in the first half and they can't continue, you activate Chanel and Sam doesn't get the game. But if it's, in the second half and we're getting down towards that, 20, 25 minutes to go and no one has gone down, there's been no injuries in the backs or anything, I think Sam Healy comes on and still plays his role how
Sure.
he normally plays. And then if
Yep.
someone is to go down, we bring Wade Egan on, like how Chance went down after going to 6 as well. Wade Egan came on against the Raiders and played that last little bit as a standoff instead of in
Yeah,
the
that's
hooking
right.
position. So, I think that are you kind of on the same wavelength there, or are you just activate
Yeah,
Chanel?
I'm the same. I think there's like, yeah, with the 6 man, it's just changed how we view rugby league, eh?
Mm,
And it makes you think in terms of, well, yeah, exactly how you explained it. And maybe we just need to get used to that, and players need to adapt to that as well. And the players that can adapt to that the fastest will have the most impact. And I think that's where
mm,
Chanel could just say, yeah, I'm going to embrace this role, and I fit in this specific role where, yeah, if there's a HIA early, I'm in there. But if it's past the 55-minute mark, I know it's going to be Sam Healy. So I think if anything, it does. I don't think with Metcalf coming back and they're going with Metcalf and Boyd, I don't think it. Me personally, I don't think it discredits anything that CHT's done. I think he's been
mm,
fantastic in that role, and you can't beat consistency. I mean, we love players that are up and down, obviously, because you can have games where they set up 6 tries, and then there's games where they six errors and leak four tries. I love that his game's just level and solid, which has provided a good platform for any half literally any half that he's worked with, whether it's Metcalf or Boyd, in general has had a good run. So
mm,
I think he still holds weight. I think if anything, I agree with you. Tamite is really on the outer,
mm.
and I think CHT's looking for a contract. If I'm right, I think this is his last
Yep.
year technically. I just saw ARW. ARW, if you're in there, he's been dropping some bombs. If you've been watching it in the chat, he's been dropping rumors like I've never seen actually. I don't want to chuck that out
Sounds
there,
good.
but no, yeah. Do you want me to tell you what he said? But
I saw the Broncos. Did
yeah,
he
he said the
mention the
Broncos.
Broncos?
Yeah, he mentioned the Broncos, but
Let's
I
bring it
don't
up.
know if
Let's bring
it.
up
Yeah,
what has he talked about? What is this guy on?
no, well, he said that he might be off to the Broncos because Reynolds is retiring and Hunt aging. He'll go to the Brisbane and be with his younger brother. I mean, I
Mm,
don't. I'm not too sure what value of that is, but I'm interested to see what the club, to hold off a contract that long is quite interesting. Do you think, Josh, or Is it kind of when they hold off longer? It's a sign of that they're not sure on you, or I'm not trying to
Um,
speculate here. But
I don't know. I think the holding off of the contract, I think maybe speaks to our depth um, in through the grades at the moment. Like, we mentioned Jet Cleary and Luke Hanson, and Hanson just obviously made his debut on the weekend and played well. But then we have Jack Thompson, we have Cassius Tia in there now. We
yeah,
have Harry Inch coming through. Jylan Lane seems to be the forgotten man throughout this as well. So, we
yep,
have, what's that, Cassius, Jack, Jet, Luke, Harry Inch. That's Jylan Lane. That's 6 players
yeah,
that are in our halves, in our lower grades, ready to push. And so when we have these guys like Timide, like Chanel, and even to an extent Tanner, like if we think back to Tanner last year, as
yeah,
opposed to this year, he was our cup halfback, and now
yep,
he's absolutely balling, and we're going, oh, hold on, we could do something here. But these guys that are coming through, I mean, Jylan is by all accounts playing fantastic in training. He's
yep,
still coming back from his ACL, I believe. And then Cassius T is playing all right. Jack Thompson made the step up to cup and played really well.
yep,
Obviously we didn't get the win in cup, but he still played well, and Jets going well in cup. He was last week against the Raiders was fantastic, and then even Harry Inch and Flegg is going fantastic. And when he's paired up with Jack Thompson, they are a dynamo, those two together. So not even really worried so much if we do have to move on a couple of these halves who are a bit older.
yep,
And I said this last week or the week before, and I don't know if you're familiar with FIFA at all, but I used to play FIFA all the time, and I'd play
yep,
this career mode, and you get to a couple of years, and your youth academy is kind of like you scout all the really good players, and suddenly your player who's like 23 years old that you are
yeah,
like, oh, he's the man, and then you're like, oh, but this guy's 18 and he's also the man, so that guy can go. It seems like we're kind of
sure,
like
yeah,
getting to the point where if the guys that are in first grade and in New South Wales Cup aren't hacking it, that
yeah,
we have the opportunity to hold off the contract and to say, hey, look, if you want to be here, show us that you want to be here. And like Tanner Boyd, now they'll probably be looking at, hey, he's showing us that he wants a contract. If we don't want to be hurt by this guy, should we keep him? Should
yeah,
we keep him where he is, or should we let him go? And I think again with Tanner, with him, it comes down more to what the forward pack in front of him is doing. And
I
then,
agree,
like,
I agree,
that comment that just came up about the Titans. Like, I don't think the Titans are going to be a good fit for Tanner. And I know he's just come from there, and they weren't a good fit, but I think there are spotlights in certain clubs,
yeah,
especially like those in Sydney or up in Queensland, who have a big spotlight on them to say, hey, you know, you better get the job done. And I think there's an extra microscope at the moment on the Titans because of how they have been losing talent, and they have gone on to do better things. And so I think like it'll be different for Timide and for Chanel because they can both play that second fiddle and
yeah,
and and kind of fit into a system. Obviously Chanel more than Timide, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Timide's head on up to England.
yep,
Whereas like Chanel, I could see him going to a club in Aussie and being that third string half for them. So I guess that's
yep,
just something we have to kind of look out for, is that we have so much halves depth that if we lose these guys, yes, it's sad because we want to keep them and we want to hold on to them, but at the end of the day, is what it is.
yeah,
It's business.
and I think watch the chips fall as they do. We'll see some announcements um, in terms of and see who signs first. If you see Tanner Boyd get signed up, yeah, Tomato's out the door. That's one down. If we extend whoever, I so and so's out the door now. But
Mm,
look, wait, this is a unique year where um you can really make a run here, and I'm not gonna, and I don't say that loosely. Although at times I've gotten excited, like last year I was excited after the Sharks, but this is like something where if all the pieces fall in their place, you'll use a Tamari in one game and he'll benefit you. CHT will have an amazing game off the bench. It's just one of those things where we're just in a sweet spot. And yes, it might
Mm,
be that last dance, and people will move on, especially with Perth coming. They need to fill that roster. They haven't. I don't think they've been done barely anything. And then PNG Chiefs, I
mm.
don't know what they're going to do with that. But so it's a sweet spot. And yeah, you're saying there's guys nipping at the heels right now, and especially hype with different stuff. But anyway, just quickly on this game, I think I don't think we need to go over everyone else, but I think everyone's been solid, and we're expecting the same kind of performance. Are you
Mm.
expecting anything from the Tigers? I mean, they are without Luai, Dewey's in there at the moment. Uh, Buller's there, and like the main guys, they're running with quite of a young back 5-2. Skelton, Luca, Lili'i, Hemasi Makasini in the centres, who had a bit of a bad game. I watched it. He was a bit, young and youthful. So
Mm.
that him and Leotoa may neutralise each other.
Yeah.
You know, then you've got, you still got May, Uppy, and Paulet's still solid there. You got Pierce, Paul, Twile. That's still a good, honest day forward pack. Yeah, Bunty R4, good old Bunty's there, and the
He's
sixth and the
back.
fifth man's
And
he's back.
Petty, I
So
think Petty Herbert's hiding down there somewhere as well.
Fatty Herbert there, yeah, okay,
Yeah, Anzac Day legend, I think 2019 or something like that.
yeah.
Against
He'll forever be known
the
for that
Storm.
final.
Yeah,
The Titan.
oh, that's
It's absolutely. It
you're
was
ratchet.
horrific. It was horrific. But but nonetheless, what do you make of the Tigers? Just quickly, anything you're concerned about? I watched some of their game and just felt, from what I've seen, their defensive patterns, they should have some issues with us dealing with us if we can, and I'm not going to brag and say we're going to kill them by 40 or 50, but it feels as though like we should have our moments to be able to control this. Luai's out. There's other
Mm.
factors involving there. What do you make of this game?
Yeah, I again, like, you look at their outside backs and you go, are they? I think they might have us a little bit there. I think, like, they have a bit of X factor, a bit of flair. Makasini is fantastic, and he hasn't been playing as well so far to start the
Yeah,
season. But I mean, you only have to look at the trials to see what he can do. I think they are missing a few troops, like they're missing Taylor May, Jerome Luai, possibly Adam Dewey. I know he went off injured at the end of the game, but apparently he's cleared. But I'm not sure how much I read
sure.
into that, because he was, grabbing pretty high on his hamstring and really kind of unable to walk. So, I think the NRL physio says the higher up the hamstring, the worse it can be. So, and he
True.
was clutching pretty high up there. So, um, they have Jock Madden in the halves, I'm pretty sure I saw there.
Yep.
And then they have Latu Fainu down there as well. So, I think he's hiding in the reserves. So I think they will.
Yep.
They may have a lack of halves compared to us, and I think the main thing that we have over them is that forward pack. I think, when we look at the fact that, coming off our benches, Mitch Barnett, Dimitri Vaimonga, and say Marata Niukore or Tennis Smith versus, seeing Royce Hunt line up on the other side, and Bunty's there as well. Like, it doesn't, to me, that bench doesn't fill them with as much, or fill me with as much confidence in them as our bench does in us. So it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I mean, like T Mackie said, if they do play Uppy at 7, that's a win for us already. Not the fact that he can't play 7, but that he's not playing hooker. Because I think Uppy is a master, and it's obviously meant to not be the flashiest weather on Friday. I'm hoping that it kind of clears up towards the afternoon, which it looks like it's going to do. But again, I think if it is raining, that also plays to us and our strengths as well, because the way we batter down the, break down the door
Kicking
in the
game.
middle,
Yeah.
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 exactly. Yeah, kicking game as well with Tanner Boyd, and Luke Metcalf just being able to run and do what he does best. So
Yep. Um, I think again we should be confident in what our boys are doing right now. I still rate some of those pieces, and I think Benji's
mm,
maybe definitely trying to build this team. It's got a lot of youth. It's got a lot of cast offs like a Kai Pierce Paul, but if you can get the best out of them, um, they had a massive game. I think was it the Cowboys game where they really
yeah,
piled the points on. So there's talent there. Don't think we should be dismissive of it. But yeah, I agree with what Jacko is saying there. If we are the real deal, we will put some points on,
mm,
and backed off of Tanner, and just wanted to look. I think if anything, while the game's playing out, we should be watching what Tanner and Luke do together,
yeah,
and just sit and get a gauge if it's flowing or not. So that's something probably in the background we need to look at. Um, but yeah, I think for us it's definitely a 13 plus in any fashion. Would love to see it continue that low scoring pattern, keeping teams to under 6 points or 12 points. Um, yeah. Do you think the same way? You think we'll probably keep them under 12 or under 18, or do you think
I
it'll be high
definitely hope so.
scoring? Yeah.
I do hope we, our defense has been what has been carrying us as well.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about the attack, but that starts with the platform that our defense is making. So I wouldn't be surprised to see how, I wouldn't be surprised to see us, defend them out of the game and come over the top of them with a couple of, um, forwards through the middle.
Yep.
Fabio Holden, as Ash likes to call him, scoring and yeah, just getting Jacko another try, getting him 6 more Dalian points. I mean, that would be the dream. That would be the goal. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to. I'll be there. I've got a membership this year, so I'll be down in my
Awesome.
my usual seats. Shout
Where are
out
you on the east side
to
or?
yep, I am on the
Oh,
east side. Yep,
oh,
on
nice.
like the 35-meter line ish. Um,
Perfect.
Towards the south stand, which is it's such a cool spot, and
I like
everyone
that
in the
spot. Yep.
bay, yeah, everyone in the bay
It's not far
around us
from
is
Rob,
real
eh?
cool as
You're
well.
about around where Rob is, the sign guy.
Uh, yeah,
Not
I
far
think
off
he's a
Rob.
bit more to the left of
Yeah,
us, or
before the left.
bit more to the
Yep.
south. But shout out to Ricky. He is a fan of the show. And he on the I want to say the first week he stopped me and said hello and said, "You're Josh, eh?" And so Ricky and I have had mean chats.
Oh,
He's
cool,
he's
man.
kind of he's sitting like alongside the tunnel. So if you see me around the game, say hello. I'll always love a chat. Love meeting you guys as
Oh,
well.
there he is.
Um,
Shout out to Ricky.
there we go. Yeah,
Is he
Ricky
a
and I
staff
will be.
member?
Bro,
He looks like he's
I
a
think he
trainer.
used to be. I think he
Oh,
used to
okay, yo.
be, and I think I want to say Ricky. I'm sorry if I get this wrong. I think he was in marketing or something like that, or for memberships. He was in
Man,
memberships. And
man, Ricky.
so he, yeah, he's now I think over in Melbourne, but he's um, been here for the last few games, and so we're catching up on Friday. So,
Man.
yeah, shout out Ricky.
Shout out Ricky, man. Yeah, you can tell that you know how you like they have that profile pic of the staff. I just look at the
Yeah,
photo there,
yeah,
like, yeah, he's an ex-staff member.
for sure,
No, that's cool.
absolutely.
Oh,
But yeah,
memberships.
Fabio
Oh,
Holden.
big up.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Big up, man. Big up, Ricky. Thanks for popping in, man. And Ricky go way back. Shit, yo, big up
There we go.
to Nick. Oh, that connection with Ricky. Yeah, it's a small world, isn't it? Once we get to know things. So, um, but yeah, yeah, I think we're kind of feeling in that same pace. I mean, if I think we just kind of got to roll with the things. Teams are getting a little bit sharper too. I'm interested in seeing
Mm,
like we hit the doors, running out the blocks. Other teams are going to probably slightly improve. We're just going to see how that balances things out. So I'm interested to see if we continue to dominate or if it maybe teams are starting to pick up. But
and
nonetheless, I think we
also,
should. Yep,
if we win 16-12, it's not the end of the world. It's still a win.
exactly.
And we've got to remember that like this halves combo now, they haven't really trained together all preseason. Like they've probably had a few reps towards the end of preseason when Metcalf was
Yep.
up and running, but they haven't played all that much together. So expect Luke to take a bit of a back seat. Um, and let Tanner still run the side. But yeah, I again, if we win 18 points to 12, or 12 points to 10, like, it's not the end of the world. We're still winning.
Absolutely.
We don't need to win by 30 every game. It's nice to win by 30 every game. It feels really good when you're watching it, especially when you're in the crowd. But you know, I'd be happy to come away with a dub either way.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that point there. Just want to quickly get into development. We're going to wrap the show up soon. Appreciate everyone that's hanging around. Just quickly, actually want to shout out the bro Kurt Fleming. I think he was in there, the membership. So want to thank Kurt for being a member. If I didn't acknowledge that already, really appreciate that, and everyone that's coming in the chats. Development. What did you notice? I mean, I personally haven't been watching stuff. I watch obviously Gerard's stuff when I can. But what have you
Mm.
noticed over any highlights for you over the weekend watching any of the development games? And if anyone's in the chat as well, check in anyone that you thought was good. It'd be good to hear some voice around
Um, the
development
main
spaces.
one, which I think everyone will be on, will be Bishop Neal. He was great. He came on. I think he played 80 minutes. Um, on the second row, which is crazy for someone who's 17 years old playing against men. Made quite a few tackles, and he scored a try. And his try was outrageous. It was I don't know if you remember Lecker's try against the Roosters when he just came on the field, where he kind
Yep.
of leapt up, caught it, slammed it down. That's exactly what Bishop Neal did on the other side. So look, I mean, it's exciting. The boys did end up going down, but we had some really really bright moments. But I just want to shout out to our Jersey Flegg team, because they are on a roll. We think the Warriors boys are good. 3 games over, or the first grade side are good. 3 games over 38 points. These guys are 3 games 44 points and over. Like,
Wow.
they're absolutely dominating. Our Jersey Flegg side is almost unfair. I mean, the team list last week, we had Joseph Ratcliffe at fullback.
Yeah.
He made the step up from SG ball. We had Norris. We had Jeremiah Lamana make his debut in the Flegg side, I think. So he was our
Oh, nice.
Harold
Yep.
Matts fullback, and he played the first
Yeah,
40
he's very
minutes at
good.
centre.
Oh, cool.
We had Sio Kali playing in that side, which he was a cup stalwart towards the end of last year. Harry Inch was outrageous again, and then I think we had a lot more through the middle than the Knights did. And shout out to the Knights as well. They had Talon Egan, Wade's little brother, who was
Yes.
here. So now he's playing fullback for their Flegg side, and he played pretty well in a losing side. But yeah, they did well. Kahu Kappa scored a couple tries as well for us, which was good.
Cool, man. No, very, very good. And like, I got to give it up to you and Ash, man. You guys cover all the bases, especially with the with all of that stuff too. Um, so I just quickly saw one here from ARW. Any too soon to chat about Kiwis World Cup Smokies? I'm not too sure. I mean, Ponga for me sounds like it's a
Mm.
given. What's your thoughts on Ponga versus Kiana Kinney? Yeah,
Um,
you're a Ponga fan for that, or you Kinney fan, or what's the view?
I just think the way Kenny played uh, at the back end of last year in the Pacific Champs was great. Kalen obviously is a big time performer.
Absolutely.
He's done so many amazing things for Queensland, Levon. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm happy to have both of them. One of them coming off the bench. I don't know if they'll have the 6-man bench at the World Cup, but if they
Yeah,
do,
interesting.
I mean, it'll be amazing. I wouldn't mind seeing Jakey Laban make the squad, if he's keen.
Oh, that'd be a nice one. Yeah.
And then I hope, I don't know, I'm starting this rumor myself, but Wade Egan to play 9.
Yeah.
Get him residency.
Residency rule. That'd be great to see a Fiend or
Yeah,
a Brent Webb would be a throwback resident. That'd be great.
100%, bro.
Um,
I think if we can get Wade Egan, I think we're getting pretty close to winning the way our forward pack will line up.
Yeah, man. No, it's good to chat Kiwis. It's exciting too as it's coming near. But yeah, it's always well, there's no doubt be more talk as we get through the year. But I just want to quickly wrap things up, man. Josh, man, thank you for a wonderful night. Man, it was awesome doing a stream with you, bro.
Yeah,
The
bro.
knowledge, you're
Reminder of the
killing
old
it, man.
times, eh?
Yeah, the old times when I jump on, but you're killing it, and your knowledge and the space is bang on, and shout out to Ash as well, who couldn't make it. But we appreciate everyone that's supporting. The chat's been massive, man. You guys' chats is
Mm.
crazy. It's hard to keep up with everyone's comments, but we appreciate everyone going in there. I think there's some Chuck Norris. Has he passed away, or
Oh,
everyone's
I
going
don't
hard
know.
on Chuck Norris?
I
If
heard
he
he was in
has,
hospital.
R.I.P. to my man Chuck. Well, actually, I shouldn't be saying that if he's not dead, but
Oh, he is dead. Yeah, they confirmed it.
okay.
Dang.
Like, damn. Okay, man. Love to Chuck Norris. Um,
And here
but
we
yeah,
thought the
man.
Earth would die before he did.
Yeah, yeah. Man, he's doing. I was seeing Jazz, and they're just going crazy. You know how Jazz is with all of his one-liners. But anyway, love Chuck
Jose hasn't
Norris.
been saying any random stuff about me this week, has he?
No,
Because
I couldn't see anything.
he's he's been a bit rogue the last few weeks. I might need you to rein him in a little bit.
You know, random. Okay,
Um,
we'll sort him out. We'll
yeah,
sort him out.
I'm in the
Uh,
office now at Mount Smart Stadium. Levon, I need you to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Come into my office. But shout out to everyone. Shout out. Just quickly, AW, Joey Chan, Sifa Talakai. Yeah, those would be
Mm,
options.
Joe Chan
We'll
would be
look
good.
into that. Joe Chan would be great. Yeah.
Jack
Talk more
Howarth.
stuff. Check Halves. I was thinking Halves straight away, actually. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. And to cap it off with Hosea there, it's always it's a classic. It's a good one.
there we go. I
Up.
mean,
Yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say that screams Chuck Norris to me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's fixated on Chuck Norris this week instead of me.
Fair enough. But hey, regular programming back for with Ash and Josh next week. So, but it's been good
Let's
to jump
push.
on the on the tools. But you'll see me anyway in the members stuff. I know people crying out for a live stream on Friday. I would love to, man. I haven't got Sky Sports at the moment, so all my reactions would be behind the 8 ball. But we need to do something. We maybe need to do a post match show or something where we can jump on. We'll see how it goes. I'll chuck that out there for Ash and Josh and whoever wants to. We'll think about that. Yeah, potential watch along maybe. We'll see how we go. I've got my hands full right now, but we'll see. We'll see. What's happening. Anyway, I just wanted to add. We're looking at starting a for members. Just quickly for the members, we've been using Discord. We're going to keep trying to use it, but I found an app called Telegram, similar to WhatsApp, but gives you a bit more anonymity and a bit more privacy. I'm going to send that link out for all of our members to jump in the chat there. It also has topics where you can discuss different topics, similar to Discord anyway. So we're going to try that out with the help of our mods. Jazz has been helping me out. So we'll get that link out to all of our members. So fill that space up if we can. Download the Telegram app. Again, it's anonymous, so it protects you from people knowing your number, all those things. I'll put that link up soon. Jump into our chat before Friday. It'd be great to have everyone kind of filling up the space where we can, especially all of our members. We'd love to get to know you a bit more on a personal level as well. Or if you just want to chat more, we're just finding maybe testing Telegram as a space to where people can populate it a bit better. Other people were trying to log into Discord and it wouldn't integrate and stuff like that. So, but any last words from you, Josh, before we head off, man?
Nah, just boys. 13 plus this Friday.
That's a nice shirt, man.
And
It's a nice shirt.
yeah, it's
Love
nice. I actually as soon as it got announced by Dynasty, I was like, I have to cop it. It's a beauty.
No,
But
very
yeah,
nice, man.
I can't wait for Friday. I'll be there in my usual seats and enjoying the Warriors win again. 4-0, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Hit that like on the way out and subscribe if you're new. Big up to all of the channel members and the super chats. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe. Up the wires as always. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.